What's up, Full-Time Hustle Podcast listeners? This is Josh Fowler, your co-host.
And Susan Fowler, your other co-host.
And I want to welcome you, yes. I want to welcome you to our very first ever Time Out Friday.
What is Time Out Friday?
What is Time Out Friday? Susan, what is Time Out Friday?
Okay, so we have learned over the past couple weeks of podcasting that there are a lot of random little things that are great to talk about on the podcast, but they're just not a full episode. And so Time Out Friday gives us a chance to talk about those things, and it's going to be a really short episode. Still can't talk. That's going to be the same.
Susan mainly wanted to use this time to address hot button topics that we advised you not to address in your personal life,
No.
but we're going to address them.
No. It's just things that don't fit within the bounds of our normal episodes.
Okay.
For example, on Wednesday, we talked about Valdi Sabev.
Yeah, we did.
Which I might be pronouncing it wrong. We might have another episode about how we pronounce that wrong.
Okay, so can I jump into this?
Yes, go for it. You're the one that discovered it.
Okay, so we use a music licensing platform called Soundstripe. Side note, if you are any kind of creator, you have a website, you're a photographer, videographer, whatever, and you use music, you need to be licensing your music. You can't throw a Pharrell track on your stuff and use that legally. It's just not possible.
It'll cost you like $50,000.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, if you hire a lawyer and all that stuff, I mean, it's in the thousands of dollars anyways, but you need to be licensing music, and there's great platforms out there for that. The one that we use for this podcast is Soundstripe. Soundstripe is a subscription service, and so every time we need a track, we go on there and we license a song. So the way it works for the podcast, go ahead.
Nope.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the way it works for the podcast is because it's a subscription service and we don't have lifetime rights to all this music, we have to go and license a song. And so I got a little bit behind on licensing. And so I had to go back through and do the paperwork of licensing the song. And in that process, because I typed in the artist name of who we were using and the track and like nothing was coming up. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if this song isn't available anymore? And we've been using it every week. So I just typed in the song title and I found it. It's called We Are One. And I've been saying it's by this guy named Isaac Joel, who is super talented, but it's not. It's by a guy named Valdi Sabev. Okay. So I found, thank God we could license the song still. It hadn't disappeared.
And you wanted to apologize to him.
I did. And I wanted to find out a little bit because all of the artists on Soundstripe, or most of them anyways, that I found have some sort of biography. You can go on there and check them out and see what they do, and in some cases where they're from, whatever. So I go on there and I find Valdi's bio, and where is he from? Where
in the world?
None other but...
I've only been out of the country once, other than the Bahamas, on a cruise.
Yep.
And that was to...
Germany.
Germany?
It was Germany first, and then Bulgaria.
Oh, a layover doesn't count. A layover in an airport doesn't count. Okay, so Valdi Sabev is from Bulgaria.
Sofia, Bulgaria.
Or he lives in Bulgaria.
Sofia, Bulgaria.
Or Sofia?
Sophia.
Here's
the thing. I just want to acknowledge, you're probably right.
Well, me and Josh had this conversation earlier. He calls it Sofia. It's Sofia. It's the capital of Bulgaria. But in Bulgaria, they call it Sofia. Sofia. Sofia.
Okay, so, and I had a friend one time who was Russian. And Russia and Bulgaria share the alphabet. They have a lot of similarities in their languages.
Most of the alphabet they share.
And do what?
Actually, there's 2 letters that aren't in Bulgarian.
I didn't know that.
That are in Russian.
Okay.
Things you learn.
Anyways, a lot of the Russian words that I was saying them wrong.
Imagine that.
Okay, yeah, because I'm not Russian. I don't speak Russian. So, like the word babushka, which means grandmother, all Americans pronounce it that way, but it's not that way. It's babushka.
Babushka.
Yeah, so they're like really strong on the first syllable a lot of times.
Sophia.
It's not Sophia.
Sophia?
Man, I'm going to go on a trip to Sofia, Bulgaria. Anyways.
So you realize that he lived in Bulgaria and in Sofia. And because we adopted our son from there, that's why we had been there. We've actually been there twice in the past 2 years. And
we reached out to him.
Yeah.
Found him on Facebook. Because it seemed like an uncommon name, but I was like, well, you never know. So I typed it in. One result came up. It was him. And I click on his profile because I'm creeping this guy. And I find out he works full-time in the music industry for himself. Mm-hmm. And what does his wife do?
She's a photographer. She's a great photographer.
An amazing photographer.
And they both work out of their home studio, just like us. It's crazy. But they're on the other side of the world.
While I'm talking, look up her website. We send people to see her website. It's crazy.
We'll put it in show notes. I don't have it pulled up right now.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so this guy, of all of the artists that we could have used, I don't know how many artists on there are in Bulgaria.
I don't know.
But it just seems like the most odds? Foreign thing, for that to happen.
Until we found our son Zane, we could not even pick Bulgaria out on a map.
No.
I
think most people in the US
the right
couldn't.
continent. Well, and when we tell people, when they find out Zane is from Bulgaria, they're like, oh, is he teaching you Spanish? Because they think Bolivia. When you say Bulgaria, they think Bolivia. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
So, Josh, do you remember any Bulgarian words?
Oh my gosh. You are totally putting me on the spot.
I remember Dobar dan.
Yeah, I think if I heard it for 10 minutes, I could spit some out, but I can't remember a ton of them.
We had to learn a little bit just to not be mean people. Dobar dan, isn't that good day?
I think so.
Or good afternoon? I would say it all times a day.
Dobar. They would just say half of it.
I remember, what did you say? You were like, tuka, tuka,
oh, yeah,
Heidi, Heidi.
Yeah, no, he would, so it's not Heidi with an H, it's Heidi.
Heidi. Heidi.
And I think that means hurry up.
Yeah, hurry up, fast.
If Valdi's listening to this right now, he's laughing really hard, guarantee it.
Yeah, if you guys know Bulgarian.
Gosh, just butchering the pronunciation. But Zane would.
It was cool.
Yeah.
And he would say something like "daime" or something, and it meant go away. But we didn't learn that for 7 or 8 months. And so he would just be really mad at us. He'd be like, daime. Yeah.
He would say nay. Nay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, we'll wrap up on this one. Nay is no and da is yes. But if you shake, if you do the American version of shaking your head back and forth and saying no, that means yes.
Yes.
And then if you shake your head up and down, yes in the United States, that means no in Bulgarian. So we were paying for a dinner one night, and we're in Bulgaria. We've already eaten the food, and we were actually paying for some friends too. We were like, hey, dinner's on us tonight. And then she's running the check, and they run it at the table, and it's taking forever. And I was like, is it going through? I'm getting a little worried.
You're
at this
asking
point.
If the card is going through.
Yeah. Is our debit card going through? And she shakes her head no, and then is expressionless. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And our translator's there, and he's like, don't worry, that means yes. And I was like, oh, they got me.
Yeah, that's not how. Hey, I want to share one more cool thing.
All right.
About this. Okay, on trip 2. When we went to go pick up Zane, mm-hmm. You and Hazel and I went to the mall.
Yes.
And we kind of chronicled that trip with a little video, about a 5-minute long video.
Yes.
And at that time, we used Soundstripe to license the songs.
Mm-hmm. No way.
You didn't know this?
Did we use his song?
We did use his song. We totally used his song.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. And I don't know. I really... On some levels, I think it's a coincidence, and another way, I think it's divine appointment. I think it's crazy, but he is the nicest guy in the world.
That is so cool.
And it's so thrilling to be a part of something really big like that.
Neat.
Okay, so that wraps us up for today's very first Time Out Friday. Thank you for joining us here at Full Time Hustle. We'll see you next time.